We're going to do a nozzle check now. A nozzle check is something that we want to do each and every day that we are there. Really, if we're using the printer or not, we should be doing a nozzle check. The nozzle check is what tells us the health status of the print head. If we're not getting a good nozzle check, it's because the print head is starting to clog. In most cases, if we catch it quickly, it's very simple to resolve. We simply do so by doing some head cleanings. Now for this process, we do need our platen in place, and we prefer to do this on a transparency. The advantage the transparency gives us is we can place it on a dark surface so that we can see the white ink better, and we can place it on a light surface to see the colors better. The yellow is always going to be the one that's a little hard to see. So when we place the transparency on the platen, we want to make sure that we have it stick off the right hand side and the front side by anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Notice the orientation, it's in landscape, not in portrait. Now I want to push the bed in until the gap sensor is just over the beginning edge of the transparency. And now I'm going to set my gap height. So I'm going to hold the bed up button, let it seek its own height. The light turns red, letting me know that it hit the beam. Now I'm going to let it go, and you're going to notice it drops down slightly. That's normal. It's supposed to do that. Now we're going to hit the load button and load the machine. The light has turned green. Now we know we have a properly loaded platen. Now let's go over to the control panel and actually execute the nozzle check. So we're going to go into menu. Notice we're in print ready status. We want to do a test print. So now we press the enter button. And what we want here is a nozzle check. So I hit the reverse button once. Now we're in nozzle check. I press enter. And now it will do the nozzle check and print that test pattern on our transparency. Okay, our nozzle check has been completed. We've done 2 of them. Now I always like to keep the previous nozzle check so I can compare it to the most recent nozzle check. And again, when we check this, it's best to put this on a light and dark surface. So I happen to have here a white piece of paper and a black shirt, just to get my contrast. And now we place our nozzle check up here. Now, what we're looking for here is we don't want to see any breaks in these lines, or at least not very many breaks, and definitely not grouped together. So, for example, if you look at the first white, we've got a single break in there. The second white is a single break. So that doesn't concern me. If we look at the magenta, we've got several breaks, probably about 3, 5, 7, 8, about 9 or so breaks. Cyan, however, only has 3 breaks, and they're spread out. They're not on the same line. They're not grouped together. If each color only had 2 or 3 breaks like that, that's really not an issue. What we're concerned with is when we have big groups of breaks. Now in this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 or 2 more head cleanings, and then I'm going to let the machine sit for about 10 or 15 minutes to let that ink settle, because if we do a lot of head cleanings in a row, it introduces air, and then it actually makes our nozzle checks get worse. However, I did also keep the previous nozzle check. So I'm going to flip this around so you can see that. And you'll notice 3 of my white channels weren't there, and all I did was a couple more head cleanings, and look at how much better our nozzle checks have gotten. And that's how we do our nozzle checks each and every day.